Hello everyone. So what I would like to do in this video is to first introduce you to the summer reading, which is here, History of the World in 6 Glasses by Tom Standage. You can buy it on Amazon, buy it on half.com, but don't pay full price for it. It's easy to get a used copy. Hopefully you got my email telling you about this book, but if not, this video will, again, remind you, go out and buy this book. Alright. So now I'm actually going to show you the original image because my face is cut off in the other one. This is credited to Mr. Duez, who teaches history in Texas. I don't want to steal his thunder. But what I want to do is introduce you to the different periods of world history and use the 6 Glasses book to actually do that. Alright, so AP World History is divided up into 6 different periods, which you can see here. Alright, so I don't want to sound too boring, but just so that we're all on the same page, the first period is very, very early to 600 BCE, right? 5% of the content is, of this is going to be on the AP, not 5% of this, sorry. This period, it makes up 5% of the AP exam, if that makes sense. 15% is the next period, 600 BC to 600 CE, or AD, right? So the next period, 20% you can read, all right? So essentially, here you go, these are the periods of history. What I really like about this book, and I'll talk about this again, but by no means am I condoning drinking alcohol. I know that 3 of these beverages are alcoholic. And if you're not of age, you shouldn't be doing that. You guys know this. What I like about this book is, first of all, it's easy to read, and it's the summer. Secondly, it does a really good job of actually correlating these beverages to the different historical periods of AP World. All right. So as you can see, beer, that compromises the early time period, right? As you go on, you're going to see how these different beverages are very significant to these given periods, respectively. Right? Like I'm still actually getting through it myself, almost finished. And you know, the Coca-Cola section technically starts before 1900 because it's kind of a product of the Industrial Revolution. It comes about in the late 19th century, but more or less these beverages kind of correlate with the historical time periods. And when we start at the beginning of the year, we're going to talk a lot about periodization because it's really important for you to A, understand why a particular period is kind of unique. Maybe new things that it introduces that haven't been around before, but then also how periods relate to ones that have already happened, right? So like how the previous development of coffee was integral to the introduction of tea to the worldwide economy, right? But at the same time, understand why tea itself is significant and should be studied as its own unique time period. That's the idea. You really need to be comfortable with kind of synthesizing historical time periods together, and then also understanding how they stand out as unique. All right. So with that said, I'm going to be doing a whole lot of periodization. I want you to be paying attention to that. The other thing that we need to be doing is answering questions as we go. All right, and here's where my website comes in. So go back to where we were, PowerPoint. All right. So right now I'm making a website, and you're going to see that there are reading questions posted there. Okay. So hopefully really easy to remember. We're going to be using this website throughout the school year. Okay, so bookmark it. Okay, when you get here, you're going to go to the 6 Glasses tab, and then you're going to go to reading questions. These questions are going to be things that you want to be asking yourself as you read. Okay, you should be underlining, highlighting, doing something so that you can go back to those important passages and be able to answer the reading questions. I'm not going to baby you. You're seniors now. Okay, so I'm not going to be collecting these questions or anything like that. However, you should be answering these questions as you read because it's going to make the writing assignment that you have at the beginning of school that much easier. All right? Basically, how do you want to start out your senior year? Do you want to read an interesting book and be prepared to answer questions, or do you want to have a panicky week where you read it and have to do a whole lot of stuff last minute? That's kind of what you want to deal with. So again, reading questions, not mandatory. I'm not going to be checking them, but it's probably a good idea for you guys to be doing them. Okay? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. So as you complete each chapter, you should be answering these questions. And it's really, each chapter's kind of its own entity, or each different beverage section. So, you know, if you don't like reading that much, take breaks, you know, but honestly, I've been sitting out on my back porch in the sun reading this. It's not really a heavy-duty book that you can't read on vacation, so no excuses. And just enjoy the book, all right? It's really interesting. Again, really important. The last thing I want to mention, which I already did, is that I know that there are 3 beverages in this book that are alcoholic. And I'm not trying to sound too preachy, but obviously, this is not condoning the use of alcohol in any way for people who are underage. The important thing is for you to just realize that these beverages do have a very interesting impact on the history that surrounds them, especially in terms of the economy and in terms of peopling, in terms of where people originated, where people moved to. There's a huge connection to slavery, which I find fascinating. So just really enjoy the book. Don't take it too seriously. And again, don't think that I'm somehow being immoral by assigning a book that has to do with drinking to a certain extent, all right? So drink tea, coffee, and I don't really like Coca-Cola. So, but you know, drink your non-alcoholic beverages as you read this. Gain a greater appreciation for these drinks. Answer those reading questions, and as you're there, again, I'm still developing the website, so it may be a little bit bare bones, but enjoy navigating your way around the new website as well, because we're going to be using that all year. And most importantly, have a wonderful summer, and I really look forward to working with you for another year in AP World.